At Grandpa's 90th birthday, my husband whispered, "We are leaving. Something is very, very wrong." My mom and sister were hosting Grandpa's 90th birthday. My husband leaned in and whispered, "Get your purse. We're leaving. Act like nothing's wrong." I thought he was being dramatic until he locked the Honda doors and said, "Something's very, very wrong." 5 minutes later, I called the police. I hadn't seen most of these people in 5 years, some longer. A few I was pretty sure I'd never met. Someone handed me a red Solo cup of beer. A kid ran by holding a paper plate like a steering wheel. There were folding chairs, string lights, classic rock playing from someone's Bluetooth speaker. All the ingredients of a low-key backyard celebration. Festive, slightly awkward. It should have been fine, and for the first hour or so, it was. I stood by the picnic table of finger food, pretending to be interested in deviled eggs. My husband, Jake, was beside me, holding a Budweiser and watching the crowd with that neutral, unreadable look he does when he's too polite to say he wants to leave. Mom was in her element, hugging people, wiping tears, reapplying lipstick behind a napkin. Dad was sitting near the Weber grill, complaining about the humidity like it personally offended him. My sister Claire was predictably nowhere near me. Her husband was laughing at something no one else found funny. It was Grandpa's house, but it didn't feel like him anymore. He built it after the construction business took off. Nothing flashy, but big enough that people whispered about how well he'd done for himself. They all lived here now, Mom, Dad, Claire, and her husband. I suppose there was room. We'd flown in from Seattle the day before. I'd been asking for years when we could come visit, and the answer had always been vague. It's not a good time. He's not feeling well. Maybe next Christmas. Then this spring, Mom had said, "If you really want to see him, come for his birthday." So I took it. I thought maybe she was softening, that this meant something. The party was already in full swing when they brought Grandpa out in a wheelchair, hair neatly combed, wearing a cardigan I vaguely recognized. Everyone clapped like he'd just walked a red carpet. I stood there frozen. He looked good. Too good. His face was smooth, his eyes distant, like he was half listening to a song no one else could hear. I waved. He didn't wave back. I told myself it was age. Mom leaned over and whispered, "He doesn't talk much anymore. It's hard for him." I nodded like I understood. She raised her beer and began the toast, voice shaking just enough to make it about her. 90 years of wisdom, love, and generosity, she said. He built our family. He gave us this life. Some of the guests sniffled. A woman behind me muttered beautiful under her breath. Jake didn't clap. I noticed he was staring. "Hey," I said quietly, nudging him. "What's wrong?" He didn't answer. Just kept watching Grandpa, or the man in the chair, I guess, like he was memorizing every wrinkle. "Jake," I said again. That's when he leaned in. "Get your purse. We're leaving. Act like nothing's wrong." I actually laughed. "You're kidding." He didn't smile. His eyes didn't move. "Get your purse." "What are you talking about?" "Smile. Walk inside. Pack now." I stared at him. "Jake, what is this? We just got here." He turned his head slowly, finally looking at me. "Something is very, very wrong." It wasn't how he said it. It was how calm he was. Like this was fact, like gravity. My hands went cold. I glanced back at Grandpa. He hadn't moved. His hands rested on the armrests like props. "Are you serious?" I asked. Jake didn't answer. He was already walking toward the house. I followed. Upstairs, I fumbled with the zipper on my overnight bag. My heart was pounding. My mouth was dry. I kept thinking, if he's wrong, this is going to be so embarrassing. If he's right. We went out the front door. No one stopped us. No one even looked up. At the car, Jake opened the passenger side for me like a gentleman in a spy movie. We both got in. He locked the doors. Then he gripped the steering wheel and said, "That's not your grandfather." I used to think maybe I was imagining it, the difference, the way things played out for me versus my sister. Maybe I was just sensitive. Maybe I was dramatic. Maybe I just liked to find reasons to feel left out. That's what I told myself for years, until the day Claire turned 18 and the entire house acted like she was boarding the Titanic. She was standing at the front door with her duffel bag and a full tuition scholarship to Ohio State. And Mom was crying like someone had died. "You don't have to go," she kept saying. "We'll manage. Please just stay a bit longer." Meanwhile, 2 years earlier, when I turned 18, I got a suitcase and a nod. "It's time to grow up," Dad said. "You're an adult now. Go build your life." No hugs, no tears, no offers to help me pack. I don't want to sound bitter. I honestly don't. I moved out. I went to college. I got on with things. But there's something about being ushered out the door like a polite guest while your sister gets begged to stay that kind of sticks. The funny part? I didn't even have a choice about college. I knew I had to go. Not because anyone told me to, but because I needed an excuse to leave. My parents didn't contribute a cent. I don't even think they asked what I was studying. It was Grandpa who helped quietly. He sent me money every few months, just enough to get by. Rent, groceries, the occasional emergency. No fuss, no lectures, just a folded check and a note in his shaky handwriting. "Hope this helps. Proud of you." He didn't owe me that, but he did it anyway. Now Jake was telling me the man in that wheelchair wasn't him. We sat in the car like we'd just committed a crime. Or maybe like we'd just escaped one. I couldn't tell the difference yet. Jake was gripping the steering wheel like he was waiting for it to bite him. His knuckles were white. I was still frozen halfway through buckling my seatbelt, like if I didn't click it all the way, none of this would be real. "What do you mean it's not him?" He didn't look at me. "I mean, it's not your grandfather." What are you talking about?" "I'm serious," he said. Calm, but not kind. "That man in the wheelchair, that's not him." I stared at him like he'd suggested the potato salad was made of uranium. "You think someone, what, put on a mask? Like some Mission Impossible thing?" "Not a mask. His ears are different." I blinked. "His ears." Jake finally looked at me. "You don't get it. I remember faces. Every detail. I have since I was a kid. I can sketch a person I saw once at a Starbucks in 2019. I don't forget faces. Or ears. That's not your grandfather." And just like that, my stomach turned to water. I wanted to laugh. Not the ha-ha kind. The unraveling, high-pitched, slipping off a cliff kind. I pressed my hand to my face. My brain tried to logic its way through it. But what else could it be? Who else could it be? Jake looked back at the house. "Your uncle." "What?" "Didn't you say he looked a lot like your grandfather when he was younger?" "I did. I had. He did. But that was years ago. And besides, my uncle, he wasn't around, was he? He hadn't been at the party. Hadn't said a word. Plus, I whispered, oh my God. He was wearing glasses and a beard. Probably makeup. It wasn't over the top, but just enough. And I'm telling you, those ears. Different shape. Not even close." "Jake." "I know," he said. "I know what I saw." I pressed my forehead to the window. My breath fogged the glass. My heart was rattling like it was about to knock a hole in my ribs. I didn't want to believe him. I wanted to go back to when this was just a weird party, and I was the uninvited guest, the disappointment daughter, the out-of-town stranger. That version of reality felt so safe. "Then where is he?" Jake didn't answer. "Where is he?" I felt the question ripple through me like a fever breaking. Where was Grandpa? Suddenly, everything tilted. The awkward toasts, the crying, the half-empty guest list, the way no one let me get close to him. The way he never spoke, the way they shut me down every time I tried. "I haven't talked to him in 3 years, I said out loud. Jake glanced at me. "What?" I swallowed. 3 years. The last time was over FaceTime. He looked tired. Then Mom said he was too sick to talk. Every time I called, it was his resting or he had a rough night. I thought I was just being dramatic, but now I wasn't sure I hadn't been screaming into a void this entire time. "Okay," Jake said. "I think you need to call someone." I stared at him. "You mean the police?" He nodded once. "If we're wrong." "We're not." I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I was picturing the look on Mom's face when I left. That tight little smile that didn't touch her eyes, the slight shake of her head like I'd dropped uninvited into my own life. I'm going to ruin everything, I whispered. Anna, Jake said gently. You're not the one who did that. I reached for my phone like it weighed 1,000 pounds. My thumb hovered over the screen. And then I called. The police arrived faster than I expected. 2 officers, plain clothes, quiet. They spoke to us outside the car. I told them what I could, which wasn't much, and made it sound as sane as possible, which wasn't easy. I know this sounds strange, but I believe someone is impersonating my grandfather. I don't know where he is, and I think something's wrong. They asked questions, calm ones, the kind that feel like traps even when they're not. Then they nodded and walked up to the house like they were delivering a package. I stayed in the car, watching. The party didn't stop right away. No one screamed. No one ran. It was worse than that. Everything just dimmed, like someone turned the dial on reality down by a few notches. People still held their drinks, still smiled, but their eyes were darting now, their shoulders tighter. The officers began pulling people aside. I saw one of them speak to Mom. She looked like someone had told her the beer was spiked. Then she got defensive, gesturing, shaking her head. Her mouth moved fast, but her hands didn't. She wasn't touching anyone, not even Dad. He stood off to the side, staring at the hedge like it held answers. I watched them talk to the man in the wheelchair. He didn't say a word. Then they must have asked for ID. Mom went inside and came back with something. It changed nothing. Then the officers knelt again, talked low. They carried that professional stillness, calm, composed, unreadable. Then one of them stood and walked away. The other stayed. Eventually, the man in the wheelchair looked up and said something. Just a few words. Then he nodded. It wasn't over. Not even close. An officer came back to the car. Can you stay nearby? We'll contact you soon. Is it him? I asked. Is it my grandfather? We're still confirming some things, but, you know it's not him. He didn't answer that. We'll be in touch. Then he walked away. I sat there feeling every second pressed down on me like weight. Where is he? Where is he? That night, my phone rang again. How could you, Anna? Mom. Furious. Crying or screaming, I couldn't tell the difference. You called the police on us. On your own family. You think you're better than us because you moved away. I tried to speak. I couldn't. You don't understand. You weren't here. You didn't see what it was like. We did what we had to do for him. For all of us. What did you do? I asked, voice breaking. Where is he? You don't get to ask that. Not now. Not after what you've done. Where is Grandpa? Silence. Then a click and the line went dead. When the police came to our hotel room door the next morning, I thought I might throw up. Not because I was scared of them, though there was that too, but because part of me was still hoping Jake had just snapped, misread something, got carried away. Mistaken ears, mistaken identity, mistaken everything. But they didn't come to arrest us or question us. They came to tell me that my grandfather was dead. Had been for 3 years. They didn't say it like that, of course. They were calm, professional. One officer did most of the talking while the other watched me like I might bolt. There's been a voluntary statement made. The family reports that Mr. Thompson passed away in March 2022. They claim it was natural causes. The body was privately buried. I sat down. I couldn't feel my legs anymore. Or my fingers. We're treating this as an open investigation until the coroner can confirm the circumstances of death. The words bounced off me like raindrops on a windshield. I heard them. I just didn't absorb them. 3 years. 3 years. And I'd been sending birthday cards. I'd been asking for FaceTime calls. I'd been wondering if I'd done something wrong, if maybe Grandpa was mad at me for moving away, if maybe he was just tired, just confused, just too sick to talk. No. He was gone. They didn't even tell me. They didn't tell anyone. I barely remember what I said to the officers. I think I asked if he suffered. They said they didn't know yet. I think I asked if the man at the party was my uncle. They nodded. I wanted to scream or hit something or crawl into a hole and never come out again. Instead, I said, thank you. Like a good girl. Like a polite idiot. The news started to trickle out online a few days later. At first, it was just whispers, Facebook posts, a local news blog. But then someone uploaded a video, grainy, shaky phone footage of the birthday toast, of my mother wiping her eyes, of my grandfather, no, not him, pretending to listen as if it were all real. This man died 3 years ago. His family threw him a 90th birthday party anyway. He was played by someone else. The internet did what it always does. It laughed, then it speculated, then it tore us all to shreds. I didn't read the comments. Not after the first 20. Apparently, I was everything from an accomplice to a narcissist to an ungrateful brat who should have just let her family cope in peace. People had opinions. People always do. Then came the call from the lawyer. Not their lawyer. His. Grandpa's. Anna, I've been trying to reach you for some time. I nearly hung up. Your grandfather left his estate to you. The house, the business assets, the remainder of the trust. Everything. I stared at the floor, at the stupid grout line in the hotel bathroom tile that never quite lined up. My throat went dry. This wasn't a secret, he added gently. He told your mother, your sister, years ago. And suddenly, the pieces clicked. The lies, the secrecy, the fake parties, the man in the wheelchair. They hadn't just been hiding his death. They'd been hiding it from me because if he was dead, the estate was mine. And if I didn't know, they could keep living in his house, keep using his money, keep pretending I didn't exist. I called my mom. I didn't know what I wanted. Answers, maybe. She picked up on the second ring. How dare you? Her voice shook with fury. Not grief, not shame. Rage. You called the police on your own family. You humiliated us. You have no idea what you've done. I know about the will. Silence. I know he left everything to me. I know you've been living in his house, spending his money, for 3 years, while lying to me about whether he was even alive. You abandoned us, she hissed. You moved across the country. You never called. You never visited. I tried to visit. You said it wasn't a good time. I tried to call. You said he was too sick. Because he was dying, Anna. He was confused, he was in pain, and you wanted to parade in here like some returning hero. So you decided for him? You decided I didn't get to say goodbye. We decided to protect him from more disappointment. The words hit like a slap. Disappointment. You left, Anna. You chose your life over your family. Don't act surprised that we chose ours over you. I wanted to hang up. I wanted to scream. Instead, I asked the question that had been eating at me since the officers left. How did he die? What? How did Grandpa die? Was he sick? Was he in pain? Did he ask for me? The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. Finally, peacefully, in his sleep. Did he ask for me? Another pause. Yes. That single word broke something in me I didn't know was still whole. And you told him what? That you were busy. That you'd call soon. I closed my eyes. Mom. We did what we thought was best. For who? For everyone. Not for me. Not for him. Anna. I'm coming home, I said. To his house. My house. We need to talk. The flight back to Cleveland felt like traveling through time. Every mile closer to home was another mile deeper into a truth I wasn't sure I was ready for. Jake held my hand during takeoff. You don't have to do this alone. But I did. This was my family, my mess, my inheritance of lies and secrets, and a grandfather I'd never get to say goodbye to. The house looked smaller than I remembered. Maybe because I'd grown up, or maybe because knowing it was mine changed the way I saw it. The for sale sign in the yard was new. Mom answered the door like she was expecting someone else. Her face went through a series of expressions: surprise, anger, resignation. Anna. Mom. Claire appeared behind her, arms crossed. This is really happening. The estate lawyer says I own this house. So yes, this is really happening. We sat in the living room where I'd opened Christmas presents as a kid, where Grandpa had taught me to play chess, where they'd all been living rent-free while telling me he was too sick for visitors. We can explain, Mom started. I'm listening. She looked at Claire, then at Dad, who'd been silent since I walked in. He was sick for a long time. Confused. He didn't always recognize us toward the end. That's not what the coroner said. Dad finally spoke up. What did the coroner say? That he died of a heart attack. Suddenly. No signs of prolonged illness. The room went quiet except for the ticking of Grandpa's old mantel clock. The birthday party, I continued. That was my uncle. Claire nodded. He agreed to help. For the family. What family? I'm family too. Are you? Mom's voice was sharp. When was the last time you called him? Really called, not just those obligatory holiday check-ins. Every time I tried, you said he couldn't talk. Because we were protecting him. From what? From me. The silence told me everything. I stood up. I want you out. All of you. By the end of the week. Anna, please, Claire said. We have nowhere to go. You should have thought of that before you decided to play weekend at Bernie's with our grandfather's corpse. It was harsh. It was mean. It felt necessary. Mom stood too. This isn't over. Yes, it is. They filed out one by one. Dad last, pausing at the door. He talked about you, he said quietly. At the end. He wondered why you stopped calling. I wanted to tell him that I never stopped calling. That I stopped getting through. But he was already gone. I walked through the house, my house, looking for traces of the man who'd loved me unconditionally, who'd helped me through college, who'd believed in me when no one else did. In his workshop, I found a box with my name on it. Inside, every letter I'd ever sent him, every photo, every birthday card. And at the bottom, a note in his shaky handwriting. Anna, if you're reading this, I'm gone and they probably didn't tell you. I'm sorry. I love you. This house is yours. Make it happy again. Grandpa. I sat on his workbench and cried for the grandfather I'd lost twice. Once when he died, and once when I found out about it 3 years too late. But at least now I could finally say goodbye.